Well, thank you for being here. Typically at this time I run through the positions. We've got several new challenges in front of us. It's a great group of kids, and so I'll do that for you just real quick. We have a lot of questions to be answered, and I've got a wonderful group of kids to make those selections from. But let's start with Friday night pitching, since that guy is moved on. But we've got several good options. We've got Dustin Beggs, junior college transfer from Georgia Perimeter, who's had a tremendous fall and winter for us. Zach Brown, you remember from last year, is one of our freshmen. Is now a sophomore. Kyle Cody obviously is in the mix. Robert Ziegler is transformed from a freshman that was trying to make his way to a guy that's done really well in the fall and in January so far. Those guys have all performed really well and going to give us some good options there. One of the things that we've got a chance to do this year is have very good depth. It'll take a little bit of while to sort itself out and find out exactly what the roles are and who's going to be able to do well and what situation, who we can use as a matchup guy, and who's going to be able to extend in themselves a little bit through the course of the middle of the game. We've had some good options here recently at the end of the game. Hopefully Spencer Jack will be a guy that we can use at the end as well. We've got a chance to match up left and right a little bit better than we have in the past. So those things are all exciting. We've got a bunch of strike throwers that I think are going to give us a chance to have a very good pitching staff as it goes. There'll be some growing pains until I figure out exactly what their strengths are, until they get comfortable. But I feel that's a part of our club this year that I feel really good about. The catching piece obviously will be new. Michael was with us for 5 years. He's gone. Proud of what he did, but we've got Zach Arnold and Greg Fettis now. They've both been with us for, this is Zach's third year. Greg's been with us for 4, redshirt junior. They've both performed really well. Team leaders, likable, at the center of the club, good skilled kids, tough, smart, all those things that you need. If you've watched us play through the course of the year, I'm a guy that likes to use 2 catchers if possible. You got to have the people to do it, but I enjoy that. I like it. It makes me feel good that we're giving somebody a little bit of a rest at a position that can be very demanding. And I think we've got a chance to do it with those 2 guys. Infield-wise, obviously, we've got some new people on the left side. I think Thomas Bernal is going to make a good transition from first to third. I think he's going to give us a chance to be solid with real leadership at third base. He's really performed well. Had an off-season shoulder surgery that slowed him down a little bit in the fall, but he's come back strong. He looks healthy. He's swinging the bat extremely well and has done a nice job for us at third base. We've got a couple kids that are going to do a nice job for us at shortstop. They're going to have to earn their time. Connor Hetty and Riley Mahan have both had good falls and good winters. Connor, of course, was with us last year and played a little bit as the season progressed. Actually started at second base our first game of the year last year, and Riley Mahan is a freshman from Cincinnati. It's going to end up being a very good ball player here. Second base, we've got Javon Shelby back. He's had a slow start due to getting a knee operated on again. He's got a chance to be a very good player. He's at the center of our club. He's got a charisma. He's got a leadership capability. The body's changed. The bat speed's better, but he's been slowed just in terms of opportunity by getting healthy. Riley has also played over there and done a very good job, but we need to get Javon back as soon as possible, and he's still got a little bit of rehab work in front of him, but he's a pivotal part of our club as we get going early in the season. First base, we're going to have to start with a very good defensive first baseman as a freshman. Evan White has earned an opportunity to play first base. I think you're going to find that he's extremely skilled and going to, in terms of defensive ability, as good as we've had since Ryan Strebe was here in 06. We've got some good choices in the outfield. Once again, we may lead the country in left-handed hitters in the outfield, but they run, and we're going to have I think an opportunity to put 3 or 4 different guys out there that have an ability to be above average defensively. Obviously, we'll miss Austin in center field for 3 years. He did a tremendous job of catching doubles and triples for us. Was also able to throw very well, but we've got Kyle Barrett, Marcus Carson, Kai Tom, Storm Wilson from the left side. Dorian Harrison gives us a right-handed bat as well out there, and so we've got some good options to choose from, and we'll have as a group the ability to run well. That's an overview of what we've got. Positionally, once again, the league will be as strong as it's ever been, which is a tremendous part of being here. It's something we look forward to. Our kids love it. The coaches really, really enjoy it. We've got a very good group of people. We had 30 kids get above a 3.0. And, again, that just speaks to their work ethic and the fact that they care about what they do. We've had 13 kids gain more than 12 pounds since last June. It's been a very good group. Obviously, that speaks to the fact we're a little bit young, but in some areas. But it's been a fun group to work with, and I'm really looking forward to it.
There is a guy who obviously values pitching. How do you feel about your defense up the middle?
Well, I feel pretty good about it. I'm going to feel better about it when Javon's healthy and we got another body. But Riley and Connor have played up the middle and done very well through the fall and through January. They're talented kids, and I think it's going to be a very, very easy thing to spot for our fans. I mean, there's real skill. They move well. They're very athletic, foot speed, arm strength. Obviously, anytime you have a transition and somebody's doing something new on a daily basis, that forces them to utilize some things that they hadn't had to employ yet in terms of concentration and extended concentration and responding after short-term failure and all those things. But Connor and Riley and Javon are skilled kids, and they'll play well for us. Well, I like both those kids behind the plate. They've spent a lot of time here, and it's their turn. It's time for them, and I think they're both skilled enough to play very well. Really impressed with what Greg has done over the past week. They're hard workers. They've gotten better. I think we'll be able to catch and throw somewhere between very effectively and very good. And then center field, we'll have at least two guys that run very well in center field. It's hard to replace a fifth-year catcher and the best center fielder in college baseball. But one of the great things about college baseball is new kids get new chances. It's time for them to get their opportunity, and they've worked hard. They deserve it, and I think when it all plays out, they'll do well.
You had a guy named AJ in this program. What's it like replacing a guy like him in his production? How do you?
Well, I'm not sure you're going to replace AJ with one guy, and clearly we're going to have a different team offensively. We were old and strong last year. We had several kids that were physical. We'll have a different club. You can win a lot of different ways in baseball, which is one of the great things about it. But we're certainly, I think pretty safe to say we're not going to lead the league in home runs or have the home run leader in the program this year, and that's fine. But you figure out somebody else that can be just as effective on Friday night as AJ was. That's always a hard task in our league for everybody, but we've got several talented kids to do that, and then obviously we're not going to have the same power. Evan White's a very good player and is going to play first base well. Last year we had a combination mostly of Thomas and AJ at first base. Evan's going to be equal to what they were able to do defensively, and then he'll take the same path of growth that you need to take offensively. Offensively in our league, it's a tough road for freshmen, but he'll do well. Some ups and downs, but he'll grow as the season goes, and by April he'll be a legitimate threat. But you don't replace AJ with one guy. Those are the last time I had a guy like that was '98. So and I have more than most. So that's a tough one.
How much does a guy like AJ help the profile of the program by all the things he accomplished? And you go out and shoot and so on.
Well, the profile of Kentucky baseball has changed dramatically during my time here. That's for sure. A guy like AJ helps, no question. AJ and I and his mom spent time in Lubbock, Omaha, Los Angeles. We've been to all kinds of dinners and TV opportunities, radio opportunities. But a guy like AJ, just from the exposure that he gets, whether you're talking about any type of media that AJ got, he enhances the program. He proves that you can be a tremendous player here. It proves that you can do whatever you want to get done in the baseball world at the University of Kentucky. We're fortunate to have him, and he was a fun kid to work with, and he's elevated us to another level of exposure. But again, we're in the SEC, and 3 years ago, we were the number one team in the country for a short period of time. And we've been ranked in the top 20 or whatever it is. So people are well aware of what's going on in Kentucky, and there's always things to do to get better, new challenges in front of you, postseason steps that we need to take. But AJ was he was just a fun kid to be around.
Their defense on the left side of the infield, Thomas going to third. How much does it help him being a high school shortstop and kind of versatile that way?
Well, you're going to get an opportunity to ask him that shortly. I saw him somewhere. He's in here somewhere, but you can ask him. Anyway, the thing about Thomas and making that, the game's a little bit quicker over there, obviously. The ball is going to get on you, and you get typically a little bit more top spin over on that side than you're going to get at first, and you're playing, I don't know what, 10, 12 feet closer to the contact, on most occasions. But he's a good athlete. He can pay attention. He can concentrate at a high level. He'll do well. Obviously, not quite as much lateral at third as there was in short and doing that, but he'll make the transition well, I think, and he'll perform well for us at third base.
What's the key to the next step for Kyle Cody's development?
I think there's two things. One, stay healthy, and two, get aggressive. Ownership, maturity, responsibility to daily performance. He's done a really good job of maturing as an individual. He works really hard. He cares. He's improved his body. He's a lot stronger. He's healthy right now. I think, he's a pivotal part of the team. There's no question about that. He's a guy that's in a gene pool, a skill level that's capable of going out and winning baseball games. Maybe not by himself, but boy, putting you in a good position through 7 innings to be in a good spot. He's a talented kid.
Talk to Rachel about just the exposure of softball now with the SEC network and everything like that. Everyone always watches baseball games, but do you feel like that goes up even more, and what does that do for your sport?
Lee, I think it does help. Yeah, I think anytime and Brent can speak specifically to it, but it's somewhere between 45 and 50 of our ball games will be on either live stream or live stream HD or the live SEC. So obviously a wonderful thing for our fans, a great thing for the parents. We have a tremendous following by our parents, but they can't get to every Tuesday night game or every road game or even every home game. And so I think it just further helps. In the recruiting process, we've had tremendous success with our West Coast junior college kids. Looking back over the last 8-10 years, we've been really fortunate with those kids that have come in, and we have 2 more, obviously, that are seniors this year that have done a good job. I think that's a part of their awareness level. The Thursday night stuff to start with. I think that's 4 years of that, and that's a big thing throughout college baseball, SEC on Thursday night. And then the opportunity for those families to get to watch their kids and just fans in general. My dad watches it in Florence, Oregon on the Oregon coast. Just that simple. It opens up the doors to people all over the country, and it's a wonderful thing for our league.
You lost 57 home runs. So what's offense? Is this going to be more of a speed?
Well, we're going to run well. I don't know exactly how well. I don't know how that's going to translate into stolen bases yet, but we're going to have a group of people that can get from home to first quickly. Several guys, as Rachel mentioned, at 4.3 or better. And yeah, Brian, you just go from one style to the next because that's what your talent dictates. That's what your personnel dictates. It's going to be a different approach. I think we're going to have kids that are going to hit for a high average. I think we're going to be very competitive in the box. But we will do it without the number of home runs we did last year, very clearly. And that goes, that's not just, that's our turn this year. And as we move forward, we will go back to hitting home runs as we get maybe a new recruiting class, or these kids just get older and stronger. But we're just simply not going to have the same number, and that goes every year. You're going to look. There's somebody else that's in the same boat as us this year, and there'll be somebody else's turn to hit the home runs this year.
What does Rick Eckstein bring?
Did you say as the hitting coach? Well, he brings a lot of things. First of all, I've known Rick and his brother for 20 years or longer. And so there was a tremendous sense of calm when I was able to do that. He brings credibility, he brings passion, he brings energy, he brings knowledge and experience, a lot of expertise. You're talking about a guy that's a big league coach for 6 years and professional baseball for 15. the kids, you can ask the position guys here today when you visit with them, you know, what has he brought to you or your relationship with him and that. But he just brings a lot of confidence, a lot of energy. He's somebody that I feel is like me in that we tend to be black and white. I think that's very good, in my opinion, for the kids. The more when you're coaching, there's going to be some gray. There is in life, but the more that we can stick to this is what we need to do and this is why, I think the better off the kids are. I think he has been a tremendous addition to the program, and we're very, very happy to have him.
Talk to Cody about all the preseason recognition that he's getting, handling that going forward.
I talk to Kyle Cody every day. Specifically, it changes from time to time and day to day. I think Kyle is well aware, as all of our kids are, that you know, the preseason stuff, living in a fishbowl, the things that they achieve notoriety for, those are nice pieces of it, but they're not very meaningful really when the game starts. And no matter where you're ranked, it's like looking at last year's rankings. I do this every year. I go back and I look, and you know, where were the Gators ranked going in? Where was Ole Miss ranked going into the last season? You know, I look at those things just out of general curiosity of just how, I guess in some respects, they're meaningless, you know, in terms of what you're doing. In 2006, we were picked to finish last in the league. You know, just the little things that you look at. We were not picked to finish high in 12, and we were a game away from another ring, you know. And so I look at those things all the time, and I remind the kids that, you know, those are nice moments. But in terms of going out and really being a guy that has a real presence that stands above the majority of college baseball, he's got a ways to go in that, and he's working hard at it, and I think he's going to get there. Does that answer your question? Okay.
How many of those freshman arms do you expect to contribute right away, and does having that depth on the staff maybe ease the pressure on those guys?
Well, the second question, and the answer is yes, and that's a good thing. We got a chance. It hasn't been we haven't done it yet, but we've got a chance to have an older bullpen. And I'm a big fan of the older bullpen, just as everybody else is in college baseball. When you can achieve older success in your bullpen, you got a chance to really enjoy it. Freshman arms are going to contribute. Well, the guy that has really earned an opportunity early on, and I don't know how early and how extensive, is Zach Logue. And he's done a really good job of throwing strikes since he got here. A lot of strikes. And his secondary stuff's got to get better, and his ability to play, to pitch at a time, and command, and all those things have got to be improved. But Zach Logue will end up being a really good baseball player here, and he'll get some time. He's left-handed freshman from Moeller in Cincinnati. So he's done a really good job. Zach Pop is another freshman that's got a really good arm as well. We have some other guys, but as you said, as you noted, we've got some older guys, and so we'll get to pitch those guys at least early on when we want to and not when we have to, and I'm a big fan of that.
Gary, what does Kyle Barrett have to do to get back to what he did in the freshman? Take the sophomore slump, or was it more good?
Well, Dick, I don't know. I think it's a fair question, but I think one of the things that happened to Kyle Barrett was Storm Wilson stepped right in and just said thank you. You know, and that happens in athletics, and I don't mean that in a mean way at all, but I mean, he got his opportunity, and he made the most of it. And Kyle Barrett is a really talented kid. He's very likable. He works hard. He cares. His instincts are good. He plays hard. What he's got to do, in my opinion, is just show up and be very consistent in everything in his life every day. He got disappointed. We play a game where there's more than enough failure to go around for everybody, and when you get disappointed, that gets you off track. It doesn't make any difference how old you are, what position you play. You can't be disappointed for very long. It's a regular human emotion. Everybody understands it, but disappointment doesn't play in our game because there's the next opportunity is too soon. They're too numerous, and so he's got to stay away from getting disappointed. He has performed really well in January. Our team needs him to be a very good player. He's a guy that can really impact games. He runs really well. He's got a gene to hit. There's no question about that. But we got to get him back to where he was, and I think that we will. The biggest thing in my mind for Kyle Barrett is consistency in everything that he does.
Evan seemed to show a little bit of pop in the fall. Is he a guy in the middle of the order that can?
Did you say Evan? Oh yeah. No, you're all going to know Evan White's name. He's going to be a really good player. and I don't want to put too much on him too soon, but he's clearly going to be a very good baseball player here. And we'd like to hide him down there in the 6 or 7 hole to start this thing off, as you would every freshman, and protect him a little bit. But he's a good baseball player. He's tough. He's smart. He's skilled. He's going to need to get stronger. But he's got the ability to hit that our kids have all recognized, and he plays first base at a high level.
Some coaches will tell you, I wish we had another month or two to get ready for the beginning of the season. Others will tell you it feels like it's been forever since we've been competitive, kind of wondering where you stand on that.
I feel really fortunate that I get this job because I love the beginning of the season every year, and our kids do as well. I'm really fortunate in the people that I get to work with on a daily basis. And so what that means, Lee, is that I'm really eager to get this thing started. The fall was great, in my opinion. You can ask the kids. It was a fun group to be around. Let me take a step back, and I'll get back to the start of the season. It's like looking at our group last year, and the thing that I respected about those kids so much is that Kyle Cody and Chandler Shepard each took a 3-week break that they didn't want to take during the season. And that's a really hard thing in college baseball, because you come back in April or May, and you're playing baseball in February or March, and the rest of the league is playing in April and May. And it is a tough task at that point in time. And we don't have AAA to go down and get them some innings or at bats. They just jump right in the middle of it, and everybody's been playing for an additional 10, 12, 15 games, and they come back, and it's a hard thing to do. But our kids, the attitude and the approach of our guys last year, especially on the Sundays, was tremendous. And I bring that up because we didn't play particularly well on the Sundays. But our guys never took their foot off the accelerator, and I think that the group that we have, the carryover, the guys that are back from last year, they have continued with that approach, and I certainly notice it. I appreciate it. It's who they are as people, and so when you have a group of kids like that, you're eager to get going, and we are.
You mentioned you've always liked to play 2 catchers in a rotation somehow.
If I can, yes.
The health of Greg Fettis has got to be this most of life.
Well, he's doing great. And, sometimes, you run through tough spots in terms of, Brian, what I think is just the luck of the draw, and you run into injuries a little bit more so than maybe you had at a different time in life or earlier in life or more than the next guy. I was a guy that played all 3 sports until I was a sophomore in high school. Then I played football and baseball, and I won't get into the Gary Henderson story too deep here for you. But my point was I never got injured, ever. And then I got to college, and I probably had a little bit more than my share. And so it really helped me in terms of my coaching world, and it changed my perspective on that. And I'm as tough as the next guy and tougher than most, but sometimes you get injured. And that's where Greg has been to a small extent. And anyway, he's been healthy for the most part. A little foot issue in the fall, but he's good right now. He's healthy. We need him to stay healthy, as we do Zach. And as I said, I'm a big fan. And that stems back to '98, coaching David Ross at Florida. A tremendous kid, still in the big leagues. And by the time we got done with the season, he couldn't catch up to 86. He was just out of gas. We're talking about a supreme player. Tough, smart, all the skills that you need, but he was out of gas, and I think that position has a chance to do that to most kids by the time you get to the end of the year, and that's why I like both those guys.
Any timetable on Shelby before you think he might be able to be close to what you want him to be?
There is a timetable, yeah, and if our trainer was here, he'd say that we talk about that pretty frequently, what that timetable is. But anyway, he's going to be in inter squads this weekend, provided that we don't have any setbacks, and then he's going to have a weekend of at-bats, which will probably be, if the weather cooperates, somewhere in 15 to 20 at-bats. We might be able to get him live. We might even force a few more for him. That's what, he's got. That's the part that's hard. You go from BP to live at-bats, Not that the other stuff is super easy, but the defensive stuff he'll do well at. But we need to get him some at-bats, and so we think this weekend will be his first opportunity. He's had a meniscus operation, but it took a little bit longer to heal and get where it needs to be. And, of course, we've been extremely careful with him. He's an important part of our club.